clients there. Quite a good event though. All right, we'll get started anyway. We've got Abdul here. So yeah, Vince, our other presenter, is hopefully joining pretty soon. He's dialing in from the UK, so very early in the morning over there for him. So he's probably just making that coffee to get himself going. So yeah, welcome everyone to our Q1 event for MelBUG, and thanks everyone for joining back in. We had a bit of a pause there. We're still finding it difficult to pin people down, and we really want to thank Abdul a lot for stepping up to present today. It's something that is the hardest part of this group, is for us, getting people to commit to presenting, and it really is what makes this event possible. So we really need people to step up, and we're looking for anything and everything to present on. We don't want to have Bluebeam here presenting, time in, time out, and we are looking at some other options of where we can, get some of the resellers and training teams more involved with helping us source the presenters, but also possibly getting some of it themselves. And we've also got Vince this time as well. So obviously drawing from the global pool of people that we are in contact with is really valuable to us as well. But yeah, it is a challenge for us of finding people, and also, for them, I know it's hard to get approval to present some of the work that we're doing as well. So understand that, and there is ways around it. But yeah, really encourage people to step up. It's a great chance to give something back, but also learn something yourself as you think about what you're going to speak about. So yeah, today we've got Abdul and Vince, and we'll get into it. So we are recording. Everyone's used to Teams now, but yeah, thinking back 2 years ago, we had to remind people about this, but we'll just get everyone to mute themselves, and we'll go through sort of the presentations and have Q&A at the end, and we can sort of move to more open discussion. But yeah, encourage you to use the chat as we go, just to register any of those questions and get some discussion going at the same time. So yeah, this is our first event. We'll talk a little bit around MelBUG and what it is for those that are new. I think we've got a few new people, but we've got quite a lot of returnees as well, and just talk a little bit around what we're doing, which I've spoken a little bit around. But it is a group of industry bugs all around the world, so it is growing still in some regions. In the US, there's been quite a few new bugs coming up, and there's a lot of good content there. So there is a launch page which will share the slides around to all the attendees, but they do have a Bluebeam page where you can find out about all the other bugs. So if you are from a large organization, feel free to share that within your organization. They may want to attend. A lot of them are at strange times, so there is recordings as well, but some of those are dropping off, to be honest. It's some regions are moving back to more of the in-person. To be honest, we have one of the bigger attendee groups in Australia. I think a lot of them are smaller, sort of in-person type groups, but there is a big network of groups around the world. So yeah, some of the ones from a while ago, and Sydney, actually, we've obviously lost that one. As I've kind of highlighted, it becomes a bit of an effort. So they were sort of pre-Melbourne taking off, and not to say that we were competing, and that's when we were doing a lot of in-person events, but unfortunately that one has dissolved at this point. And one thing we are looking at is, do we create more of an Australia-wide group? We think the online nature of it works pretty well, so we are looking to look at other regions, and particularly Sydney as well. And do we look to create an Australia-wide sort of group that we can potentially get more people contributing presentations from other regions in Australia as well. So we're not limiting ourselves at the moment anyway, but just getting some more people helping with, organising the speakers particularly is one thing that's something that we're looking at. So again, if you know people that are keen in other regions, or if you're keen yourself to get involved, that's something that we are actively looking at as well. So just to introduce myself, Ben May at ACOM, and I look after the digital adoption within our buildings business, and we've got a strong ACOM presence with the other main sort of bug champ we have as well is Lachlan, who's on the call, and we've been sort of very active with Bluebeam for a number of years. So it was something that sort of evolved with our discussions with Shannock in the day when we sort of saw what was happening with the Sydney one and the content that they were able to generate. So we're certainly looking for more people to join us, and we've had Sing at CPB in the past as part of the group, but she's got some other priorities that she's focused on at the moment, but we're certainly keen. And I think as we maybe look at this Australia option, we'll expand out people, and it's really about finding content for people to contribute. So with that, it's enough about the overall bugs, but we'll hand over to Abdul, who's going to show us some cool hacks, I think, with his markups. So I think he's going to switch to live presentation.
Thanks, man. I'll take over the screen. A little bit of introduction about myself. I'm a bridge and civil structures engineer at Oricon, some background structures. And to be honest, I started using Bluebeam 2 years back on one of the major projects I've been working on. So it was a great learning journey, I guess, from seniors, colleagues, partners, and yeah, so here a few of the hacks I'd be presenting today. So sharing my screen. Just a quick one. So yeah, I'll be talking about a little bit on status bar snapshots, just the agenda of my time. Not sure how much time I would be getting, but I'm expecting anywhere between 15-20 minutes max per presentation. So snapshot and then sequencing, a little bit about scales and viewports, and then how to erase content from the PDF, and along with a few of the alignment tools, paste in place, apply to all pages. And if time permits, I'd go creating bookmarks and then finally overlay. Does that timeline sounds good, Ben? 15-20 minutes?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yep.
Awesome. Sounds good. So just created one of the PDFs on drawings. So this is just for information only, disclaimer, not to be used for construction. So I've got a few bridge and building drawings. So bridge I've got from my side. Shannock provided a few building drawings from Bluebeam, standard ones. Hopefully you recognize a few. So just talking about first about status bar. So you would be situated under tools. If you go toolbar, you need to activate that from here, tick box, status bar at the bottom, or you can use F8 as well. So here's the thing. You've got 4 or 5 options here. First thing is show the grid. So you can turn on, turn off the grid. Second one, snap to grid. So when you have the grid on and you want to try start a line or thing, any of the tools, just snaps to the grid. I normally have all the last 3 options open all the time when I'm doing my markups. So the next one is about snap to content. Say, for example, I've got a few drawings, so snap to content. That means if I'm starting a line or any other tool, so it will just snap to the content straight on. And fourth one is snap to a markup. If I've got red line markups or any other markups, I can even snap to those. This one's favorite. Sometimes you can repeat things when you're drawing reinforcement, rear bars, and things like that. Even the sequence, the reuse bar helps. And then I'll be talking about my tools as well. So yeah, I can show you what it does. And then finally, this is synchronized view. So when you're looking 2 drawings same time, maybe 2 different revisions, you want to see into split view. Say, for example, I would just split this. And then as I synchronize, so you've got 2 different revisions, it does work same time. So that's really helpful. If you have any changes at a different location in the drawing, you can just zoom in, check through, and markup. Yeah, so that's a quick one. Moving on to the second bit, that's the snapshot. So working on CPS, I realized a lot of the times you already have the design drawings ready to use. Most of the packages are already complete, IFC'd. And then from the standard packages, if you want to do an RFI response, update checkprint drawing, you can just use existing markups or existing IFC drawings and then modify them. Best way of using is snapshot. On the project I was working on previously and even now is redline markup. So we normally do things on redline. So say, for example, I'm putting an example of light restaurant rock. Can just snip it, takes a snapshot, and say I want to use and paste it, Control V. So because the project requires redline markup, say if I'm using a new page, just demonstrate. Instead of blank page, yeah, go. Let's move it up. Oops. Yeah. Control X. Coming through. Oops. Paste. All right. So you've got your snapshot. Couple of options with the snapshot itself. Under properties, you got change color. That's really handy, which I learned the start of my CPS. So you can colorize. So you can literally add any color you want. Use the existing CAD drawing. Say there you go, and then add update relevant to any of your new updates, new checkpoints. The other good thing with the snapshot is, yes, you can add extra boxes or rectangle. I normally use polygon if things doesn't work. So just put up a polygon and then fill in things like white, normally to hide things, and then make it transparent. Just, yeah, there you go. So those previous markups are gone. And you can do the same thing even if it's internal minor details where you can you want to use polygon or rectangle or different object to hide things or mask up. That's a snapshot. Let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. Second thing in this sequence is sequencing in using my tools. This is one of the hacks I think Shannon taught me how to use. One of our engineers wanted to work out on count, and they want to see how the sequencing would work. So, for example, I've got number 1 in the series, and I've just saved it there. What the sequence does is, say I've got it here, for example. Normally, you need to save it in your My Tools chest, and then what's that? Add to tool chest, My Tools. There you go. But if I'm trying to use the reactor thing, it's just copying over. So you just get the same number series. However, if I go there and then change the sequence, so define a sequence there, so starting prefix 1, increment 1, you can have multiple 2 or 3s, up to you. Then it increases 1 by 1. So for example, now I'm using the same thing with the reuse markup tool. Say 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that's an easy way of adding sequence, counting things. So I know you can do that count measure, but if you have a number in front of you, that would be easier for to count things. That's a sequence, and probably I just leave them there. Scale and viewport. And if you have any questions, maybe can ask on the go as well. So scale and viewports, I think my estimator friends or even architects would love the scale and viewport side of things. Normally, when you're using scale, you've got scale up there. I've just changed the slide bar, so I've got my search and then the other bar there to use thumbnails. It's easy to navigate and also gives Adobe view, I guess. Coming on to scale, you can calibrate if you don't have any scale there, or I normally prefer to use preset, say 1 in 100, and then precision 1. There's a good option. You can apply this to all other pages. So literally whole set in one go. So say apply scale, custom pages. So I can apply that to all of the pages. So my scale stays 1 in 100 every other page on this drawing set. Moving on to viewports. Scale, now you know that you can use that for measurement, say 1 in 100. I've got precision, so that's 4-meter there. Just an example of using 1 in 100. But now, say in this case, I've got 1 in 10 and 1 in 20 as well. So they're different scales. Here's where the viewport would come in handy. What it does is basically add custom scales in the same whole drawing based on the region. Say, for example, I'm defining this region there. That's 1 in 100, 1 in 10. So there you go. Apply. And it's created 1 in 10. Now, if I move the same measurement, which I was using for 1 in 100, there you go. It changes, updates. Oh, yeah, 1 in 10, 463. So basically, what I'm trying to do here is create viewports separately. And as an estimator, you take out the quantities. You can easily do quantity takeoffs using 1 in 20, 1 in 10. So if I'm adding another viewport, say for 1 in 20, without any dimensions, you can measure the dimensions as an engineer to double check what the draft I've done. In this case, I'm using 1 in 20, so the height of my lateral restraint block 650 mil, and yeah, you can add precisions if you want. But if I move the same dimension in another viewport, it actually updates itself. So 350, and there you go. That's how I use viewports, and you can have multiple viewports in the same drawing set, depending on and the rest of the area, because you've got 1 in 100, it still works as 1 in 100 outside the viewports. That was it for the viewports. Okay, this is another one which I recently found was sketch to scale. Normally, we are using polygons, rectangles, shapes. However, there's also an option to use rectangle sketch to scale or polygon sketch to scale. What does that mean? What does that do is you can define literally the width and also the height. Say, for example, I want 400 by tab. You press tab, you go height. Sorry. 400 tab, say 600 high. So there you go. That's to scale 1 in 100. Because if you've got whole, depending on which location it is, again. Yeah, so this is 1 in 100 with the dimension. Same way, you can create other dimension, other objects as well. Say, for example, circle. I've got 300 radius circle. Same, you can do it with the polygon and polyline as well. Say, I'm starting, say, for example, I'm doing a crank bar, 1 in 100 scale, say 300 tab. Sorry. Yeah, you can use shift for angles. So if you're going horizontal, vertical, and also 45 degrees. So holding shift helps. 300, enter, and then I go 45, shift, up, enter, then again 300, double enter. So there you go, that's crank bar. And that's still to scale, depending on the dimensions you've given. So that's to scale viewports, right. So I'll jump into alignment tools because we've already had a few things created here, and then I'll come back to the erase content. Say, for example, I've got these, all right, just say no, number is not a good thing. Okay, maybe use the same crank bars, just copying over a few times. So yeah, this is what I was talking about, use of grid and reuse markup tools. If you have saved under your My Tool chest, say, for example, Rio, you can create multiple times by just having that option open. Why I had these crank bars multiple, so I just want to come one by one. This is my alignment tool. Of course, I've again had those on using toolbar. So under alignment, there you go. That's where you can find alignment tools. Yeah, I'm going one by one backwards. So yeah, using that, you can distribute horizontally. what it does is it takes extreme ends for front one and the rear one, and then just distributes the objects evenly, same way vertically, and then you can align them all in one place. So yeah, the distribution. Same way how the word works, even the alignment things work same. You can also flip things. Really handy when it comes to flipping orientation sections, different views. So yeah, you can use flip. This one always brings things to the center of your page. So if I click that, it goes there all the way to the center of the page. Yeah. The other one I was trying to do was use of this scaled version of my box. Control C, Control V. So say, for example, I've changed the orientation. These are the two different size boxes. However, I thought, say, square section, want them to align, have the same width or same height. So now I'm checking the align height options, these two. How does they work is whichever object you select first will be your reference. So for example, I'm going left to right. That means this is going to be selected first. Based on this reference, the align height and align width would work. What does that mean? Just see if I'm trying to make this square or this rectangle same as that in terms of width, or one of the ways. Okay, so it's the other way around. But anyway, so whichever one you select first will be your reference. So now I'm trying the height. There you go. So that's really handy when you're trying to bring different shapes, if it's already created, and trying to bring into scale different shapes. That's alignment tools. How much time I've got? Probably. Lucky or Ben?
Yeah, another sort of 7 minutes.
Okay. I still have enough time. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally you would use the best way of doing the reinforcement and then tool spacing is using the grid. So now coming back to the grid is you can customize grid. So if you go under preferences, reference, like review, under review, you got preferences, and there you've got grid snap, because initially I've defined my global scale, say 1:100, 1:100. So I can define units, millimeter, and then also set the scale based on 1:100. In this case, it would be 150 mil spacing. Say, for example, for the reinforcement, 150 divided by 100, 1.5, 1.5 mil. So, okay. And that basically is 150 spaced. You've already had one of the shapes created. I've got circle with filled in there, and then I can just snap to the grid, and then what is that doing? Okay, maybe I'm too far. Okay. There you go. So that's 1:100. I think that's too small. Maybe I can change the scale. Make it 1:50 maybe. Say apply tool scales. Select all. I don't know, or maybe make it more, even more smaller. Just say 1:10. There you go. And then apply to all pages. Oops. And then, so that's preferences, sorry. Scales updated. 15 mil. Roughly grid updates. Yeah. So now if I'm snapping to grid, there you go. That's all spaced 150. You can move around, group them. Say for example, you've got a bigger wall, retaining wall, larger longitudinal way. So you group them and then just copy the group and then snap to grid. It's too small anyway. Yeah, that's one of the ways of using snap to grid. And yeah, probably think that's what I had for those alignment tools as well. All right, coming to the erase content. This is really handy when you're trying to erase things within the existing drawing and want to have it neat and clean, maybe, without using the polygon option, which I showed previously. So for example, just, yeah, say this is one of the section view of a pile. Clean around, use existing drawing and just add a few extra markups on this. Handy tip, never try to do it on an existing drawing set, this erase content option. Always have a new file for that. I'll give you the reason why I'm trying to say that. So whenever you try to use erase content tool, it actually flattens up. And then the flatten up the drawing set whole thing, plus it won't allow you to unflatten back. So it's permanent markups. Anything that you have already as a markup stays there. You can't do anything to change. So best way is do this way: take a snapshot, bring it in a completely new drawing outside, and then now if you want to do erase content, even if you have wordings, you still can do that. So you say erase content. And I want to go flatten that. And then start erasing the content. Say, I'm going to get rid of this cover. Why is that doing that? Oh, snapping. Sorry. There you go. And these ones, you can get rid of any of the wordings you had in a drawing. Even you can have clean finishes, like just getting rid of this road maybe, or the arrows if you're going to that detail. But anyway, I'll leave that to you to decide. But yeah, I really like to clean up things when I'm issuing or using one of the existing drawings. Yeah, so you can get rid of those. Maybe if you want to move the section lower, you don't want to show the U bars on the top, just get rid of those U bars, just like that. Yeah, make the drawings more cleaner. Yeah. So this is how you can do it. And then once you've done this, probably, yeah, same old trick: snapshot, copy, and then paste, change color properties if you're using, yeah, red line markups or other colored markups. So yeah, that's the erase content. Right, alignment tools I've completed. Paste in place and apply to all pages. This is really good. Say, for example, you're using two different drawings, and then say you have picked up this markup, just delete one and then show as an example. So I know that every other drawing should have that for information stamp at that location. So I just copy and then go to the drawing where I've deleted, hit Control-Shift-N-V. That means does exactly paste same location where it was previously. And this also applies to any other markup you have, not only stamps. So for example, say you've got revisions, updated revisions, and you missed a revision in between for a CPS. Say someone have done XYZ same time as you, they have submitted out the check print and you haven't considered that in your drawing. So you can just take up their markups, Control-C, and then use the Shift key, Control-Shift-V. It just pastes everything in the same place as previous drawing without you needing to do anything. Right, so where are we? Apply to all pages. This is really good for these sort of stamps, and you know where the exact location of those stamps are, or things, say, draft for, say, for example, I'll just put up an example draft. Say I'm putting a draft stamp somewhere on the drawing, and I know that location is empty on other drawings as well. So just put up, paste. Oh, It's just a bit slow. All right, go. Or it's just for draft, and then no one else can use for other reasons. You can just rotate, say 45. Rotate. There you go. The other way around. All right, so this is draft, and if you click right click, there you can find apply to all pages. It says it gives you the range. You can apply to all pages, custom range. Yeah, and then hit OK. And it applies to all of those pages. It's really good when you're doing mass check prints in one go. So check print stamps, verification stamps. If you've, in one go, you can have all those once you have completed your checks, of course. And then it applies to all other pages. There you go. Yeah, that's applied to all pages. So how am I tracking on time?
Yeah, you got time for the last one?
Awesome. So this one I'll go overlay. Overlay, I've got 2 drawings. I think I missed. Let's see. A page. Cancel. Just move it down. So I'm kind of comparing these 2 drawings. So these were the drawings given by Shanik. Say that's general plan level 6, and then roof level. Why I've got these 2 is just similar in plan, but even if you have 2 different revisions of the same drawing, you can use to do that. I'm overlaying on one another. So you go document, that's where you find the overlay pages option. So click on that. It will open all the drawings that are open if you want. I just want page 5 and page 6. Let me just check. That's page 5, that's page 6. Yep. Overlay pages, page 5, you've got standard colors. Normally use yellow. I haven't saved in my profile, but I prefer to have a lighter color for previous revision, and the latest revision should have some sort of bold dark color. Say going for dark blue or red. Yeah, so using the same drawing, and that's 6. Okay, so I've got same drawing, 2 different pages to compare. Hopefully that works. Let's see. Yeah, so there you go. It gives you a new new page, new drawing, depending on how many pages you've got custom range, and then it overrides on top of each other, and then you can see what's the difference between yellow and blue. So yeah, I still am trying to find the right combination in terms of colors, one light and one dark. But yeah, if you have a preferred option, let me know as well. But this is the easy way you can check drafters' content, what they have updated in 2 different revisions. And then finally, it was about the bookmarks. This is really easy task. I like to try to navigate between my PDF using bookmarks. So you've got bookmarks, add bookmarks, or create bookmarks. You can select a region which you want. Most of the times you'd have your drawing sets with standard drawing names, and all of those names will be in the same place. So you just select that name, and then that's your region. Just preview. There you go. Apply to all pages. And that's where we have all our bookmarks, hopefully. Yeah, there you go. And I can navigate between the drawings using bookmarks. Really handy for doc controllers, I guess. But yeah, that's an easy way of doing or navigating between, apart from thumbnails, of course. That's also another way of navigating between your PDF. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Last step, creating your tool chest, custom tool chest. That's handy. I normally have things like bolts, hold down bolts, and things like PFC, which I normally most often use in terms of connections plates. Yeah, That's pretty much it, I guess. Yeah, and I've covered everything, hopefully in time.
Yeah, that's great. That's really a good overview. I think the overlay, every time you want to use it, someone's randomly like printed at the wrong scale, so everything kind of looks incorrect. Same with the compare. So you can do the compare tool, can't you, which clouds the changes, but it seems like every time you actually want to use it, there's something wrong with it, and it's just like, yeah, it doesn't give you what you need. But yeah, it's very, I think in your case, they're comparing the updates. That's really good. Yeah, really good example. So I just sent a little poll out, just which one your favorite ones were, and maybe particularly if it's something you haven't seen before, it'd be interesting to see feedback. It's an anonymous thing, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see, because yeah, some of those tools, I guess that's one of the things with Bluebeam. There's a lot of that functionality that you got to know where the toolbar button is, and you got to play around with it to see how it works. I'm sure they're documented, but there's a lot of those tricks. There's more than one way to do everything. But yeah, I see a lot of engineers with the alignment tools, and I think even that you can start to build multiple combinations of that, can you, with macros and things like that. So I've seen some really cool workflows of, you know, aligning the rebar and then spacing them equally and things like that. So that could take you to the next level as well. But yeah, some really good tips in there. Yeah, that's great. Any questions while we're there on that one? I haven't seen too much come through. But yeah, hopefully someone picked up something out of that. Yeah, things like scale and viewports. I know that's been changed a lot in the recent releases, hasn't it? How easy that is to sort of apply. So I think if you're not using the latest versions, you're missing out on some of that functionality as well. All right, yeah, if there's no other questions, we'll get straight over to Vince. So I won't bother sharing my screen back again, Vince, if you want to take straight over. But yeah, very thankful to have you up nice and early. Hope you got a coffee in.
I've got a cold coffee now, but
yeah, a few IT issues. Right. Probably not because it's too hot over there, I imagine, as well. But we've got a nice 28 degree afternoon here in Melbourne, so
it's 9 degrees here at the moment.
Yeah.
I was going to just say on that overlay, you can actually, if you use the 3-point alignment, your drawings don't have to be to the same scale, and they don't have to be to the same rotation either.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can use
that's
that.
Great. Great tip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see my? Sorry, I'm just. I've got too many screens on the go here. Can you see my screen here?
Yeah, we got you on the screen.
Okay. Yeah. So I started looking at the combination of. Sorry, I'm looking over here because that's where my other screen is. I started looking at a combination of Bluebeam and Excel about a year ago, because I work on a lot of civil engineering projects, measure a lot of drainage, roads, things like that for housing projects. And I was finding, like, I've got this site here. This is one of the latest ones I'm working on, 162 houses on here. And I measure up all the drainage. And if I try and zoom in on this, so I'm marking up all the different plot drainage, the main adoptable drainage. And I was finding that I was marking it all up on here. Then I was having to export it to Excel and then mess about within Excel, maybe load it line by line, etc. And I started looking at ways of, can I automate that process? So this one gets a bit complicated. So, I mean, but one of the first things I started doing was creating custom line styles and custom tools for the different drainage. So like this one here says it's got as dug backfill to the trench. It's a plastic pipe. If I come out into the road, it'll say it's a clay or concrete pipe and it's got stone backfill. So I've created those tools automatically, those tools with that information in. If we get time, I'll jump back to this one. As I say, it's a bit more complicated, but I then started looking at what else I can apply this to. So when I first started in the construction industry, I was a carpenter, and I used to do work with my dad, and we used to pitch roofs, do all sorts of works. So I started looking at what I can create on here. So I started creating some custom tools and for all the different elements in the roof. And I like to, when I look at a drawing, I like to be able to see exactly what everything is as soon as I open the drawing, and be able to, at a glance, try and scan across and see what things are. So as you can see, custom line styles, I've created those, made them different colors, and yeah, apply some details. The ultimate aim of this was, this is my all my columns, custom columns, etc. in review. And what I found was, when I was working with these, you can get certain formulas to work, but there are other formulas, or you can go beyond what review can do. For example, if I had to pick one of these rafters, it's all a bit slow. So this is my rafter here, and you can put in the pitch of it. You could work out the length of this based, because review's got the tan and the sine functions and things like that. But if you came to the valley, that involves a second angle, and review couldn't calculate that. Then I started looking at other things, like if I wanted to add waist to my length and I wanted to round things up. So I developed this in review, and then we go to Excel and we use Power Query. And I don't know if anyone's looked at this before, but basically the idea of Power Query is you can link and drag information into Excel. And so what I've done here, I won't go through, this is all the setup that makes this work. And if we get time, I'll have a look in a while. But basically, I'm linking to where my file is, and I've put the file name in. And the output on all of this is it's a bit like what's it? The automatic link to Excel. I forget what it's called now. What's the link to Excel in review, where you can have the automatic link?
The quantity link.
Quantity link, yeah. The problem with quantity link is you can't refer. If I go back to review, the problem with quantity link is you can only refer to lengths, and you can only refer to the totals. You can't refer to calculated columns. So that rules out a lot of information for me. So if I jump back to Excel again, if you use Power Query, you can drag in the information automatically, and then in Excel you can have all your tables set up for, like, prices of timber, labor rates, things like that. I haven't really finished this one off because I was just playing around with this one, but I've got all the materials. I've got rates for the labor here. I've got material prices, and what I want to do is create a value for the whole job and for the different elements. So what you can do with review is, if I jump to this last one, I've just quickly put 3 markups on here, so it's a bit difficult trying to do. I normally have this on 2 different screens. So if you see here, I've got blocks G, block I, and I've got some information in here for block I. I've got a ridge, and I've got some standard rafters. And if I jump back over to review, so I've started marking these up here. And if I just put a couple more of these in, and I choose, if I choose a value, I'm putting this in the wrong place, but if I chose a valley jack, put that on there. So what you can do is export your CSV. You don't need to open it. So that's exported. I jump back to my Excel spreadsheet. I hit this button here. So you can see it's gone to find that CSV file. And it starts up, this is working a bit more slowly because we're online, but it starts updating all these bits and pieces here. It's adding more rows. So you can see this table is just updated. I've got my extra rafters in there. I've got my Valley Jack rafters, and everything updates automatically. But the difference with using the Excel setup is you can build in extra calculations and manipulate the figures. So when I'm creating all of these, what I can do is take for the rafters. That one's 4 meters long on plan, but you get a different length, obviously once it's pitched. But it will round up. It will add. Sorry, let's start. It will work out your calculation. Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
lost it for about a minute, I think, Vince, or 30 seconds.
Sorry.
I think we probably lost you for about 30 seconds. So
Oh, right.
maybe
Okay.
back to the start of the sentence.
Okay. I can't remember where I got to. So what I was just running through was, obviously on here, when I look at this length here, it's on plan. So once you apply the pitch, all of the calculations are worked out in Excel, but it will take the information in this column for the pitch. It would take this column here for any wastage that we want. But what it also allows you to do in Excel is apply other features. So I've got this table here, and it's taking the information, and what it will also do is, after it's added the pitch and the wastage, it will then round it up into the lengths that you actually buy the timber in. So you get a full cutting list that you can send off to your suppliers. That's all done automatically. So this is a fairly simple one because there aren't too many calculations in it here. I then started looking at, well, if you can do this with timber and roof pitching, etc., what else can you work on? And I then started looking at things like, I've got lots of profiles here, roof tiling. So I started, what else can you apply this to? So in many ways, this works in a similar way with working out the angles. But then I started applying areas for roof coverings and things like that. And I went a bit further with the spreadsheet on this one. So once again, you've got the cover page with where it's linking to the files. I started making a bit more of a fancy spreadsheet. But once again, it had materials in it. Then I started adding, I've looked at it and said, well, if you're looking at roof tiling, you've got the roof tiles on top, you've got the felt underneath, you've got the battens. Can we start loading that all into one markup on review? So if I look at my site details, what I did was I created a table with the main roof, lower roofs, other roofs, and I started building in all these details. So I've got a type 1 roof, type 2 roof. They've got different roof tiles on them. They've got different makeup underneath. It's a bit much to run through quickly in 5 minutes, but you enter in all these details, and what you end up doing is, in review, you haven't actually got that many markups to apply. So these are all my markups for the main roof finish, any features, ridge, etc. basically the lower roof repeats, any other roofs repeat. So you can see if I mark this one up, so if it jumps to it, I've got a roof finish on here, it's got the area, it's got the pitch. If I then jump and start running through here, my ridge runs through there. What else are we going to put on here? Verge. So this is really quite quick to mark up. So the only thing we have to do on these is once we've marked them up is where's my line styles? Where's my pitch? Custom. I've got to put a pitch in there, which is 35 degrees. So that's quite quick to mark up. Once again, when I looked at this, all you need to do is export the CSV. I've got to make sure it's going to the right file this time. That's the one I want it to go to. Select. Hopefully I don't have to load any custom columns or anything like that because I just want to switch profiles. So if I jump back to this one and I've got the I jump back to site materials. So like here, plot 16 and 17, I've just got the main roof area in that moment. If I click on this, hopefully it won't take too long. Always try to pick something that doesn't take too long. The drainage one it's got about 30 or 40 calculations in it, or tables that all mix and merge together to actually get the result. This would normally have finished by now.
Yeah, I find Excel is a little bit slower for these queries compared to Power BI. I'm not sure if there's something different in the technology, but I had a question the other day around if it can speed up the Excel refresh, but you're still saving a lot of time if you were doing it the manual way, aren't you? So,
well, the drainage markup that I was showing you earlier, I tend to crash Excel with that sometimes, but it's a glitch in Excel itself. But I've got probably, I think it says 4,000 markups on that takeoff, and it will take that, and within 30 seconds it will transform it into a complete bill for me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is annoying. This one normally takes about 5 seconds. Here we go. Yeah. So if I jump back to my site materials now, plot 16 and 17, it's added in my ridge, it's added in my verge, it's added in the different materials that I've used to make up all the roofing systems. On my site breakdown, it will have updated the prices. And when I've got the prices plot by plot, I can get labour, plant, materials. I can split it into the main roof, the lower roofs. It does all of this automatically. So it just works. So as I say, if you want to make a quick update in review, you just go in, you make your changes, hit your CSV export, jump back to Excel, and then just run the update button, and everything is there automatically. So yeah, I think how am I doing for time?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. I mean, I'm creating setups for various different things. I've done fencing, and I'm changing the way I'm gradually changing what I'm doing in Excel to make it more dynamic, and actually does speed up things. it's not all about using Power Query. I've discovered lately that you want to do certain things in Power Query, but then you want to do other things with standard formulas, etc. But
Yeah.
You can see the kind of information you can get out of this very quickly.
Yeah. I guess, it'd be good to open it up to any questions with the bit of time that we have left, because I think there's a lot going on here, and to have your time is pretty valuable. I mean, a question that I would have is, how does this compare to other things you were using before? Because I know a few people that have looked down this path, and we know a few people in the market here that have done similar, but we've actually struggled to get them to present on it, because there's quite a bit of obviously development that goes into it. But how does it compare to other solutions that you've used?
For things like measuring drainage and things like that on the big sites, to be honest, I've never found a piece of software that does it.
Yeah.
And certainly doesn't put in what we want to get out of it. That's for sure. I mean, when I do things like this, it's like here. Let me just profiles drainage. When I put this information in here, so if I grab this one very quickly, right, so there's a lot of columns on this one. So you can see here, I've got a pipe start, pipe end. So it starts at a shallow inspection chamber, it ends at F1. If I go to this one, I actually say it starts at a shallow inspection chamber and it goes on to the run SIC to F1. When I put that in, that one there will work out, it knows the depth of a shallow inspection chamber, but it will work out the average depth of this run. And so I can then work out the depth of this run. I kind of know where it's joining onto it. It will look at this run here, and it will work out what material it is, what pipe size it is, and it will add in the Y junction. So that's all done automatically. I used to have I've still got a spreadsheet that I use for someone else, and it's great measuring on here. But as I say, entering all of this information into a spreadsheet can be, well, it can take a couple of days if you've got 4,000 lines and to do it properly.
The
other thing,
it's easy to update to you here. If you get a design change, you can just
you can do that.
See what's different.
And you can also see I've added location here and plots 1 to 3. So I've allocated that drainage. And when I do my breakout in Excel, all of these, I can create a table and it gives me all of these details by those plots. So everything is just there automatically. I've got everything worked out. So if I was to do a call off just for these plots, I could have all of the materials that I need. I could have the exact value for those plots, and it's just all there automatically.
Yeah, that's great. Anyone else with any questions for Vince while we have him? Let's share the. We'll share the screen again, but that's.
Do you want me to turn on? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Vince. We didn't do a full introduction.
Sorry, I was just a bit crazy this morning.
Dove straight into it, but I'm sure people are pretty active on all the platforms as well. So if people are interested to follow what you're doing, look you up on LinkedIn or wherever. I'm not sure how Shannon came across you in the first place. Thanks to Shannon for connecting us. But we've found in the past it's one of those areas that we know people are doing a lot of great stuff with this, but it's not. It's hard to get people to step forward. So I really appreciate you sharing.
I think the thing that really is with this is you can create whatever works for your company. Which is the most important thing, because not everyone likes to measure in the same way. There's a lot of focus on, I guess, using the models, and for you're probably receiving a lot of 2D information, so often there's a lot of efforts to use models, and then you still have to close the gaps because not everything's in the model. So all we get is because we're the subcontractors, all we get are the PDF drawings, basically.
Yeah.
So like this site is, I've stitched together six A1 drawings to make an entire site layout, so I can see it all in one go, and then I've started marking up from there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that's that. You know, in your space in the subcontracting, that's where the innovation happens, because you get the data that you have and you've got to make it work. So no, I really appreciate you sharing that. That's fantastic. So yeah,
okay.
I think we're out of time. We've got a few people dropping off, but yeah, I'll just close up the meeting. It'd be good to keep going, and if there's more questions, we can keep it running. But yeah, as we said at the start, I'm really keen to hear from people about what you want to hear, and if you can nominate people that you want us to chase up, we're happy to do that. You know, we're looking to just get a really broad mixture of content. So we'll be working pretty hard to line up, and we've got a couple of speakers lined up for the next few sessions throughout the year. So we'll release some details around the next meeting, which will hopefully be in May. We'll see how we run for that, but keep LinkedIn in our LinkedIn group, and yeah, we've got quite a big group on there now, so that's where you can keep up to date, but we'll send out emails as well. And yeah, so we've got a group there, but I'll post this on the LinkedIn page for contacts, and you can find Abdul and Vince on there as well. And in due time, we'll have the video uploaded. So it normally takes us about 2 weeks for Bluebeam to do what they need to do, but on the YouTube channel, you can see all of the past videos that we've had there. So again, for this one will be viewed by a few, but you can find all of those on there. And some of the other global ones do go on there as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for attending, and yeah, get involved, and particularly those, I know we've got a lot in the bigger organizations, definitely spread the message about these groups and get your teams engaged, because I think, yeah, some of this stuff is really great to share. So thanks everyone for attending. It's been a good session.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Abdul and Vince. That's what was excellent. Really great stuff to say. Thank you.
Thank you.